Good afternoon, friends. Uh, Meeting today on the other side, as promised in the last lecture. In the last lectures, the series that we are continuing, we were doing types of research. In the sense, we spoke of pure types of classic types of research as fundamental, applied, and action. Then we spoke of the classification types of research under the heading which we discussed about types classification of research based on focus, classification of research based on the data. Uh, and now we will discuss classification of research based on design. As I said in my last lecture, don't worry too much about design because in the unit 3 and 4 you'll be doing it at length. But suffice to say that suppose you think of a shirt. You can have a shirt without a collar. You can have a shirt with a small collar. You can have a shirt with a big collar. You can have a shirt with long sleeves. You can have a shirt with short sleeves, and so on and so forth. Maybe a shirt with a pocket, shirt without a pocket, something like that. And depending on the occasion and how you feel or the circumstances, you would like to wear those shirts. Like if you have to go to a formal interview, you wear a shirt with a full sleeves and wear a nice tie and all that. But if you want to go to a social occasion in the evening for some informal party to relax, so maybe you'll wear a shirt without a collar and short sleeves and so on and so forth. So it depends what is the need mm, at that time. Even for research is the same thing. Depending on what is the need of you as a researcher, as to what you are studying, what you are explained in the rationale of the study, and what resources are available to you. You will try to design a study as to how you will conduct it, where you will conduct it, in what circumstances you will conduct it. So now we'll discuss these different requirements of a general study that a researcher can conduct, and see what are the subheadings under which we can classify uh, research based on design. So, having given this brief introduction, without being too humoristic and just sticking to plaid shirts, let's see what is the first, or maybe we will see all those, all those subunits and the designs that are involved in this kind of classification. So you have a basic general idea. The first one is survey, another is case study, correlation, experimental, developmental, ethnographic, phenomenological. I got it at one go. Dialectical and historical. So all these research have been classified in these different ways based on a certain kind of style, in a way you will be conducting that study. Now we will try and go step by step and learn what these styles are. So this will give you a broader picture of research. See, when we began with research, it was like that, okay, you go and ask some questions in a systematic way because you feel the need of a certain topic, and then you collect data and so on. But it was just superficial speaking of research. Now, really, we are going deep down into the real aspects of research, and it's a very important step. So please pay attention. So we'll go to the first step, is survey type of research. In this kind of design or in this kind of classification, what do we speak about? We say it involves creating a structural plan to collect data from a specific group of people through questionnaires. You would have seen so many times, whether in front of your college or whether in the mall or in the theater, there are some school students with a questionnaire, and they're asking you questions, maybe 5 questions, 10 questions, 20. It depends, or they are going from home to home asking some questions. So what they are doing, they have made a structural plan of maybe 10, 20 questions based on a certain particular topic, and they are trying to ask you questions based on that, so that they understand a little bit more about that topic from you. So that form itself helps you to understand deeper about the research topic. And this kind of research is called a survey research. Generally, in a survey research, you will try to survey or speak to or take the feedback from maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 100, sometimes 200, sometimes 500, depending on the kind of study and the resources you have. So let's see what example they are talking about is a researcher distributes questionnaires. See, again, 500 college students across different universities to study their attitudes towards online learning. So they will not check 500 from one university. They may go to one university, check maybe 50 or check 100. If they have to study 5 universities, they'll check each 100. If they have to take 10 universities, depending again on the resources of time, money, and the need of the research. Case study, see, the word itself tells you a lot about what will be there inside this kind of study. That is a case. Now see, when you go to the doctor, what does it tell the nurse? Inka case per paper nikalo. So, or the nurse already knows that when you enter the clinic, she will ask you your name or your telephone number. Based on that, she'll take the file of the case paper. So, and what does your doctor do later? He speaks to you, क्या हुआ बेटा, सर्दी हो रहा है, किधर दुख रहा है, कान में दुख रहा है, इधर दुख रहा है, and all that, कितने दिन से है, and all questions he'll ask, and he will note it down. So what he's doing, he's preparing your case. Now already as a family doctor, maybe it's a big thick file because you have been going to him since your childhood. Now even when you are a grown-up person, you are still continuing with him. So now he has a very thick file, and now there is a new clean sheet of paper he is attaching. So he is building a case. So even in the case of research, when you speak of case study, you take up a topic and then try to go deeper and deeper about that single issue. We go back to that Kahani part 2. What happened over there? The clerk tries to find out about the girl, talk to her, speak to her, what happened, why not, and all. Then she thinks, let me go home. So going deeper and deeper. So similarly, when you take up a case and try to study more and more about it and try to understand more, it's like reading a book and you are opening each and every page and trying to go to the last page to try and understand the suspense. Similarly, in case study, so a case study is an in-depth, as we said, detailed examination of particular case, of particular instance within a real-world context. See, mostly, apart from that fundamental research which we spoke in the different types of research, almost all other research are real-world. Unless and until you speak to Elon Musk, he will have some case based on Mars. So, example is a researcher conducts an in-depth study of single school. See what is reflecting in the case. Every time he's speaking of in-depth study, detail, and then it is speaking of a particular case, of a single case, of one case, of maybe of a child, of a school, of a class, whatever that. So we'll go to the next one, correlation. Again, the name itself will tell you. Correlation means what is the relation between the two, just like husband and wife. What is the relation? They are married. Brother and sister, what is the relation between them? They are the children of the same pair. There is a relation. Two friends, what is the relation between them? They study in the same class, whether it's tuition class or maybe in college. What is the relation? So similarly in research also, you have issues and you try to find the find the relation. So you find why correlation, because they are together. Co Now two people, nowadays is a new trend, two people are living in a relationship. What we call, legally call them, they are cohabiting, means they are habiting, they are living together. So correlation also is the same. We have spoken a lot of times about a case in the class, whether the height of the students have any effect on the results of their math study. So you are curious, you want to study that. So now what you're saying, you're trying to find if there's any correlation in your class students about their heights and their results in math. So again, it's a correlation. What does it say formally? Examines the relationship between two or more variables without manipulating them. See, now you are not doing any manipulation. You are just trying to see, you're measuring the height of all the students, and you're taking up their math score. Suppose you are not a math teacher, you're asking a math teacher to give the score to you, and then you're trying to see, are they do the tall children students have a better math score? Do the children who are short have a bad math score, or vice versa? You really don't know. You just want to find out. So correlation study is all about that. So studying the relationship between study habits and academic performance. Study habits could be, those children who wake up early in the morning and study and then go to school. Those children who stay up at night and study and then go wake up so late in the morning that they have to rush with everything, maybe just on time they will school. So different kind of, the way they do their studies, and you want to study that. Now, see, in correlation or in other parts, we have spoken that you are not interfering in those studies. But in experimental, now what we are speaking about is, you are actually doing some experiment. You are doing some interfering job, not in a negative way, but in a positive way. A few lectures ago, we gave an example of a school principal who has joined new, and the school was not doing well. So the trustees have given him one line, command that you have to make sure that in these 2 3 years, the exam results of this school is much better than what it was when you joined. So then what he does is, he thinks about all these things. He does some research. He brings his experience as the principal from the other school, and then he implements a new teaching strategy. He tells all the teachers, he trains the teacher, and says, "This is how you have to do." So at the end of that term, what he will do, whatever the scores are of the students, he'll collect them and try to study that, are these scores better than the scores in the past. So now what he has done an experiment. Now here, experiment does not always mean science experiment in the laboratory or with the rats. But it means that you are trying to do something, you're trying to change a situation and see if there is some result to that. So similarly over here, so what does it formally say? Investigates cause and effect. See, once again, you are causing something in the class different than the previous, and then you're finding, trying to see if there's an effect, and then if there is an effect, positive or negative, then you call it a relationship by manipulating one or more independent variables and observing the effects on dependent variables. Now, dependent, you have a lecture on that where you will understand more about it, because if you don't do it in a very thorough way, there's a very big chance that there's a big misunderstanding. It's very misunderstood concept in research, dependent and independent. So just for this lecture, just understand that there are two variables or two issues or two topics to be studied, and you want to see if they are connected. But you are not just sitting back and trying to study, you are actually doing some experimenting and studying. So that's the difference between correlation and experiment. In correlation also, you are trying to study the relationship of two concepts or two issues. In experiment, you are also doing that, but you are actually doing some experiment. So example, the researcher tests the effect of new teaching methods. See, same thing we discussed. New teaching method using interactive digital tools on students' achievement in math. Maybe she's using some, maths app built by maybe one of her senior students and trying to see if it does help in them understanding math. So before maybe a teacher teaches maths in a normal way, then in the next period they teach it in a special way, something like that, and finding if the results are different. So now we'll see developmental research. Now again, the word itself will tell you there's no need to study development. So you want to study about a development. Suppose for a school. Now for this principal, he has joined the school and he's been given a command of improving, but he wants to know that how about this school from the maybe beginning, last 5 years, 10 years, what has happened, how it has grown, and what is the result situation or the staffing situation, or whatever issue he or she wants to study. So when you study a development of a phenomenon over a period of time, you call it developmental research. So what is say development research studies changes or growth over a period of time. So he wants to study, like they want me to do suddenly something, but in the last 5 years, 10 years, how the school has been running. Can he be a magician that he will just make some jadoo? A researcher follows a group of students from, so this is another example, from grade 1 to grade 5 to study how their reading comprehension skill develop. This is also a development. So he wants to study how their reading comprehension develops since starting from the first grade to the fifth grade. Now we go to ethnography. See, again, the name itself will tell you what it is all about. Ethnographic, about some kind of ethnicity. Now, suppose you want to study about some Adivasis living in some, deep jungles. So you go, you live with them maybe for 1 month, 1 year, depends on the need of the study, and you study that the way of their life. How does it affect the way the children study? Now see, now these children will have to go to school, maybe walk, an hour or 2 hours to go to the school, then walk back. Then they also have some jobs at home, like collecting twigs from the forest around, or maybe collecting whatever fallen fruit or something like that, and including all this work, which is different than the children in the cities. The children in the cities, I heard from one of the teachers in the international school that so she has to literally feed one of the children the food during the lunch break. And she was like, I've never done this to my own child for so long period, and here I have to say, just because it's an international school, they pay so much high fees, we have to show them love. So it's a factor of irritation for her. She was sharing with me. No one considers this part of teacher's life. Uh, so going back to that ethnographic study, so their school and life settings are different. So you want to study about their life settings. So let's see what it says. Ethnographic research explores cultural practices in natural settings, immersion into a group being studied. So they see what all the practices are going on, and then how does it affect their studies, and so on. So research spends a one full academic year, my goodness, inside a rural village to study how local cultural practices influence classroom learning. So we'll go further and say phenomenological. It's a very big tongue twister. I managed to do it. Phenomenon is a phenomenon. So phenomenological. So again, this word will tell you it is about a phenomenon. So what is a phenomenon? It's like the sun is rising in the morning, so we have sunlight. The sun sets in the evening, so it becomes dark. Again, the next day the sun rises, we have sunlight. So suppose you are a caveman and you have all your life you lived in the cave. One fine day you accidentally come out of the cave and you find it is something fantastically new for you. You have never seen that happen. Just trying to explain phenomenon, not about the calling you a caveman. So, as a researcher, you want to study a certain kind of phenomenon happening, and that those kind of studies will be called phenomenological. And what does it say? Lived experience of industry. Now, when you go back to the one we just studied, ethnographic and lived experiences here, they are also lived experiences, but they have a ethnic or cultural bent. Here, in these kind of studies, it is no ethnical culture. You can study anything which is based on a phenomenon. For example, the millennial students, the Gen Z students, their student life and their normal life in class and outside class. So that is a phenomenon, because now these are Gen Z students. The way they think, the way they understand things, and the way they want to know things is totally different than Gen Z, and totally different from millennials, and totally different from baby boomers. So you see, so you want to study the phenomenon, or you can want to study the situation of students after COVID. See, before COVID and after COVID, it's totally different world now. So now this is a new kind of phenomenon. So you want to study that. What the example? I recently want to study the lived experience of first generation college students. So whose parents have never gone to college and they are going to college for the first time. So, what are their experience? This is a new phenomenon in their life. So, what are their experience about college and education and life and all that? Dialectical. So, okay, now we will go and talk about dialectical kind of research. So, this is a kind of design. So, what is dialectic? Dialectical about uh, being dialectic means discussing about opposite things of a same phenomenon. So sometimes, like watching TV. Let's take the example of TV. You want to watch. You and your sister are more inclined to watch that Hollywood type of movies and all that. Maybe some exposure and all that. Now your grandfather and grandmother is there. They don't like that at all. They are like, I would like to watch bhajans or old movies or some, some sensical movies. According to them, for you it's rubbish and nonsensical. So see, there is a clash of the words, clash of views. So then these are the situations when the researcher tries to study is called dialectical, and the discussion around such topic which are opposing worldviews is called dialectic discussions. So it happens in school studies also. For example, digital, non-digital. So what does it formally say? Dialectical research examines contradictions and opposing perspectives. I gave you about the TV watching situation in the home. The same thing in school also. It helps in resolving conflict. So when you study about these opposing views and opposing situation, then you understand better why these people are taking this viewpoint, why those people are taking that viewpoint. Can we bring them in the center and see if both can manage to live together. So, example, a research on conflict, once again, conflict between digital and traditional teaching. So, there is a opposing views. Some old teachers who are just about to retire, they are like, I just want traditional method, chalk and talk. The cat digital, and you have to put this button, that button. Sometimes the internet is not there, light is not there. Then again, we have to look into the book and study rather than 35 minutes ka lesson hai, kyun ye sab karna? See, that is there. The modern people who have been given the mobile phone the day they were born, they are so quick at adapting to it. They are like, nee, talk with the gas of all that dust is going in your nose and all, and new research is showing that this is causing cancer and all that. I would prefer digital. So, two worldviews. Historical. Historical again, see, once again, we are talking about common sense will tell you about history. So now, a few examples back we spoke about, looking into the development of a school, 5 years, 10 years. Now, when you speak of historical, it is similar, but now it is not 5 years, 10 years. It is like going back 100 years, 50 years, 25 years, सिल्वर जुबली हो गया इसका. So you are trying to see कि हाँ इंडिपेंडेंस के पहले इसका स्कूल था, अभी डिजिटल इंडिया हो गया है. What is the difference, and what how they all began and how they have developed in the last 50 years or 70 years and so on. So when you do a research about a, a situation, it's not necessarily school. Like for example, you are now NEP 2020 has come. So now you are getting very interested. You are just finished your MAd. So now you are very interested to study that. So many people are speaking of NEP 2020 as a game changer or India को पूरा बदल देगा, and you are like ऐसा कुछ खास नहीं लग रहा है यार after reading that. Uh, then you want to see that how did the situation of education develop. So you will try to go and study research, study the education situation, maybe pre-British time, then the post-British time, independent India time, like Kotari Commission and this commission and that commission, till the time Radhakrishna Commission, till the time you come to NEP 2020, and you see, try to map at what all policies were, involved into bringing the education to these states. Like 20 years ago, they had Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. So then what happened after that? Now they are saying that okay, we have to allow them to study in their mother tongue and not necessarily English. So you want to see that it will affect, because you know that your dad and mom had not studied in an English school, and how their whole life they struggled, as a vernacular students, and even now in a posh English settings that you are belonging to, they take a back seat because they cannot converse in English so well as the people who are studied in. So you're thinking that now are we pushing these students into that same kind of life where they will always be taking back seat, or what? So many questions. So you want to answer that, and you are going to study all that. Just just different look of what it is. So this is, let's see formally what it says. Historical research deals with the past records and events. So again, I have explained to you, it's not that 2 years, 10 years, it just goes deeper, much deeper in history about a situation, about a school, about education policies, about a country. A researcher studies here. Again, what was the situation of teacher training in 1947, and today what's the situation of training? No need to go to 1947. Just maybe 10 years ago, ML students, BEd students who had to be in the class almost every day. One day absent means they were sent to the principal office to give an explanation, and teacher were like, "Arey, arey, arey." But today, you have online ML and BEd classes, and even that you all don't tend to attend. You'll give some excuse, I'm traveling and this and that. Sometimes it's real, sometimes it's a good excuse to say no one can question. So you see, even teacher education has changed even in this 10 years. So historically, how the teacher education developed, you want to study. So that is what is historical about. So if we recollect the first slide and went through all that, it seems historical is the last kind of classification that we study in the design based study. So we have come to an end to this part of classification where we study different kinds of research based on design of the study. So now we dealt with classification in three parts, that is on focus, on the nature of data, and on the nature of design of the research study. So I think these three parts have been very important because it gives you a deeper view that how vast and how interconnected research is, and how serious business it is. Maybe before that you would be like, ah, research है, research है. But now you would have realized that ये serious business है, because there are so many branches and so much thinking going on where research is concerned. So now it's the time for you to wake up and think of research seriously, and think of yourself as a serious researcher, and how much efforts you will need to have to put into this business of research. So, having said that, I'd like to say thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I hope that this kind of a complex topic has become a little bit easy for you all to understand, and will be useful to you all. So, once again, thank you very much, and goodbye. Bye, guys.